Has said it is now ready for launch. That's after fixing an issue with a communications hardware which would have left the historic Artemis II mission in limbo. Now, the Space Launch System is the most powerful rocket ever built. It was scheduled to launch from Cape Canaveral in Florida, and the 4-astronaut crew are set to spend roughly 10 days on a high-speed loop around the moon before returning to Earth. And this will be the first time that humans will travel to the vicinity of the moon in over 50 years. Well, Per Wimmer is a founding astronaut with Virgin Galactica. He joins us from live here in London. Welcome to the programme. So apparently now NASA says the flight issues have been resolved. There is go for the launch. Just talk us through these moments right now. I understand there's roughly an hour left before the launch.
Yeah, we have an hour left. It looks very positive. There was an 80% probability for launch. Now it looks like it's go, go, go. So what's going to happen is the countdown will eventually start. And as we go down to T-7 seconds, you will see the main engines, the 4 main engines come alive. And at T-0, the 2 boosters on each side will also come alive. And then suddenly this enormous rocket, 98 meters tall, very, very tall, mostly consisting of fuel, quite frankly. The big orange part in the middle is just a big fuel tank, effectively, with nitrogen. That will then take off. It will then go up to an altitude of 50 kilometers. You will then see a separation of the 2 boosters. They will come off. So after a couple of minutes, they will fall off. And then the rocket will continue further up to about 2,200 kilometers up, which is about 5 times the altitude of the International Space Station. And at that point, they will shut down quickly, and then they'll do a boost again for about 15 minutes to get into their orbit. And then they'll do one final boost later, which will then set them on the trajectory to the moon.
So, Per, this is the first time that humans will travel to the vicinity of the moon in over 50 years. Just how significant and exciting is this moment, of course, if everything goes to plan?
This is fantastically exciting. It's historic. And as you said, it's 53 years since we left the moon. Gene Cernan was the last person to walk on the moon on Apollo 17. This is sort of an Apollo 8 moment, if I may compare. This is when the same as when Frank Borman, Jim Lovell, and Bill Anders took off in Apollo 8 and did a flyby around the moon. So that was the dawn of a new era, the Apollo era. And this is the same. This is the Artemis era now that's going to create a very exciting dawn for new space. It's going to be fantastic. And the three astronauts who were on Apollo, Bill Anders in particular, famously said, we came to the moon, but we discovered Earth. Because when they came around on the other side, the dark side of the moon, and turned their way towards Earth, they saw this Earthrise, not a moonrise or sunrise, an Earthrise. And that very famous picture has been memorized so many times. And the 4 astronauts today are in for a massive treat when they come around. It will take them 4 days to get there, and then they'll have this fantastic view.
Incredible, 4 days to get there. And of course, they're not going to the moon itself. There's no lunar landing. I understand they'll be circling the moon. And as you say, it will take them 4 days. Why isn't there a lunar landing?
It's a precaution. The Artemis rocket and the Orion modular capsule is a new vehicle. It's only flown twice technically, but Artemis I was sort of the first real test of it, which was unmanned. So this is the second time really that it's flying, and this time the first time manned. So you gotta take one step at a time, just like Apollo 8, 9, 10, and then eventually 11, where we had the moon landing. It was originally the plan that Artemis III would be the moon landing, but that has now been decided to be postponed till Artemis IV, just again as a precaution, just to make sure everything is working perfectly and we understand how it's going. We did have a little hiccup on Artemis I. On the heat shield coming back in from the atmosphere in through the atmosphere. There was some inconsistencies in the heat shield. Some gases had leaked in, and you will therefore also see when Artemis II returns to the Earth, you will see it coming in at a steeper angle and much faster than any other rocket have ever done, at 40,000 kilometers an hour, coming in much steeper, just so that the time in the atmosphere on re-entry is shorter. Again, that's a precaution, but it is a first at that. And there's also a number of other firsts of this mission. It's the first time you have a female going around the moon or being close to it. First time you have a non-American, and first time you have a person of color. So there's a lot of first involved here, even though it's technically sort of a Apollo 8 moment, but certainly a very historic moment.
It's incredible looking at that live countdown right now. 56 minutes, 46 seconds left for the takeoff. And the big question, why has it taken more than 50 years for humans to travel close to the moon?
After, in 1972, when Apollo 17 went to the moon, it seemed like the American taxpayer got a little bit tired of it because it was getting too normal and too regular. So there was a big hiatus there. And then obviously we got involved in building the International Space Station, and that became the focus. Kind of like, we've been to the moon, so let's do more science and stuff. But now there's a reignition, a desire to go further and deeper into space, a desire to build a lunar base. The NASA wants to have a permanent presence on the moon, from which you can then launch further missions deeper into space. Technology has evolved. NASA's program has evolved, science has evolved, and it's a natural thing, and certainly on a personal note, a very exciting thing as an astronaut to see that humankind is back in the moon business and beyond. So I think it's incredible. It's good for science. It's good for humankind. And it's also good to see in this world of all sorts of conflicts on Earth, there's actually a positive focal point that can inspire young kids on planet Earth to be interested in science and doing some good in this world.
Absolutely, absolutely. And what do we know about the 4 astronauts that will be going into space and to circle the moon?
So 3 of the astronauts have been to space before. The only one who is a rookie is the Canadian one, Jeremy Hansen. It's his first trip, and what a trip. Can you imagine? Your first trip to space is around the moon. Incredible. But the others have been up there once before. Interestingly enough, Reed Wiseman, who is the commander, very accomplished astronaut, etc., been up before. He's actually afraid of heights, interesting enough, an astronaut, but I'm sure he can handle it. Christina Koch, who is also very, very accomplished astronaut. She, when she was younger, dreamt about going to space, and she famously had a picture that Bill Anders took in her bedroom, and that inspired her to go to space. And look now she's actually heading up. Incredible. And then obviously you've got Victor, very exciting, very colorful, charismatic person in the astronaut corps, who's also got a very, very accomplished background behind him. And I think it's a great team, and no doubt they'll have a fun time. But right now they're super focused and concentrated on getting the mission on the road.
Absolutely, and there's less than an hour to get that mission on the road. Per, fantastic to speak to you. Thank you very much indeed, Per Wimmer, a founding astronaut with the Virgin Galactica, speaking to us from London. Thank you, really appreciate all your expertise. Oh, Donald Trump.